When did you say, hey, I think I could make money doing this? Today on Business Under Fire, we're with Sebastian Almonte, which I've known since he was a little tiny kid. He's not a kid anymore. And his old stepdad is one of my, dad, right?
Stepdad, yeah.
Stepdad.
I call him dad.
Yeah. That's why I got confused. Has been a buddy of mine forever. And today is a little different. It's called Business Under Fire, but we're kind of going into one of my passions and Sebastian's passion, obviously, which is airplanes, aviation. And I'm actually super excited we're going to run through Sebastian's path from becoming a civilian to a aviator in the United States Air Force. So first of all, welcome. And second of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for you to share your story on being born to fly and how this happened. It's been fun watching this on Face Trash is what I call Facebook. Yep. And the point that Sebastian and I kind of spoke about while we were texting and talking about this and today is to get his story of how he got to accomplish what he has. And this is a dream for millions and millions of kids and adults to do what you are doing. And so how does that feel?
It's a long story.
We got time.
Everybody's got a different story. And like what me and you were saying earlier is like, sometimes you're wearing these shoes you dreamed about wearing one day, and sometimes you got to just stop and take a look back and go like, okay, like what did I do to get here? But yeah, we had a brief little chat about that too, and a lot of times you forget. You forget to take a look back and see what you've accomplished and how you got there. So I'd love to get into that.
I remember walking up to military aviators, whatever branch they're in their flight suit at air shows. Have you been to any air shows?
Yes, absolutely. I remember, I think my first air show was over in San Antonio. It was like at Randolph. We were watching the Blue Angels, and I thought it was awesome. I actually still have those videos on my phone. They're all like grainy from like the iPhone 3 or something.
Oh, yeah.
But no, absolutely. I love the air shows. It's like, it gives everybody a chance to just walk on base and see all the cool things that our military has. And like, in reality, it's like, hey, like you can have this job one day. A lot of people don't see it that way.
Yeah.
They'll just go on and see the cool planes. They want to watch the jets and stuff, but like, don't forget to talk to the people there, because there's some really, really interesting people.
Is that what triggered your, wanting to do anything with aviation? Was it the air shows, you think?
I think a lot of it was exposure to like the military, air shows being one thing, and then just the people that I knew that were either in the military or used to be in the military, and just hearing their stories, just seeing like what their family life was like. Some of my good friends, you might know them, the Dalkeys, they were a military family, and they I just used to go over to their house all the time. Their dad was a pilot, so I used to hear them talk and how they used to live all over the U.S. and they got to travel and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And they took me to Civil Air Patrol once at Randolph, right across the street, and I got to see a base for like the first time, and I'm like, oh, this is not the way I pictured it, and got to do a little bit of marching and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, this is cool. This is cooler than I thought.
I went to Kelly Air Force Base 2 or 3 days ago when we were getting some steel at Triple S Steel, because they have an FBO that they sell really cheap gas at, but I couldn't find it from this side of the runway.
Okay.
But then I learned that they have a passenger terminal for the military at Kelly.
Okay.
Did you know that?
I didn't know. No, so I haven't gone there. I'm going to spend a lot of time there.
Nobody goes there. So I walked in there and they have the baggage claim, small baggage claim. And I said, well, I'm looking for the FBO with the really cheap gas. And they're like, is it Atlantic? I'm like, no. And so I said, what do y'all do here? And he goes, oh, this is a passenger terminal. I said, do you have any passengers? He goes, no, never.
Yeah, no, I've never been out there. I'm gonna get real familiar with it here in the next few months, going on to the C5 training here.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, where is the C5 training?
So it's out of Kelly, right there in like Lackland. They're kind of just like married together there. And I'm going to be spending a few months there, starting here at the end of the month.
So the sims are there. All the training is out of there.
Yep. It's
sweet.
So everybody that's learning how to fly the C5, they're all going to get funneled through there and then go out to their respective bases afterwards.
For the people that don't know airplane stuff, besides that they have wings, can you describe briefly what the C5 is?
So the C5M Super Galaxy, it's the biggest Air Force plane that we have here in the U.S. It's massive. Now, I haven't started flying it yet, so I can only tell you so much, but that thing can take off with like 840,000 pounds.
I forgot the wingspan on that thing.
It's 233.
In the length?
The length is like 247.
So it is a monster.
Yeah, I think it's like 65. Yeah, 65 feet tall.
Oh, it's really crap.
It's really big.
And that plane you can drive Army tanks into, like 3 Apache helicopters.
You can fit like 3 school buses in there. You can fit, I think somebody said you can fit a blue whale in there too.
You won't be hauling any of those.
Yeah,
but
maybe,
you might.
Who knows?
You never know.
It's so big. I've seen them at air shows before. They got this cool thing where you can a lot of times you see cargo planes, they like load stuff in from the back and then just pull right out. The C5 actually has a visor that opens up from the front and also from the back. So they got this cool like drive-through thing they got going on where you can take a tank out through the front while you're putting one in through the back, and it'll actually kneel forward. So like it sits up kind of tall on the on its gears, so it'll actually lean down and allow you to pull stuff in there.
The weight and balance on that, you're gonna think the calculator's messed up.
It's crazy. No, we have a lot of experts that help us put all that together. I mean, we have an engineer on there too, because there's so much going on with that giant plane that like we got another set of eyes specifically looking at that kind of stuff. So if we ever have any emergencies or something, like we got people.
And then another thing people don't know about the C5 is it seats 29 seats in the back or 30 something seats.
Yeah, so we actually have like passenger seats like up on the top, and I think they face backwards.
They're rearward facing seats up in the back towards the tail.
That's right.
They got a fancy microwave in there too.
Oh yeah.
But that's gonna be neat. You'll have to post a picture with you up on top of that thing. It's just gigantic.
They have a little hatch you can crawl up and then just take a cool little selfie up there. But
how do you let's start with that's one thing I want to get at is how good the military does at marketing and promoting through the air shows. They spend gazillions of dollars doing that. I mean, just imagine what it costs to get planes there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the Thunderbirds are kind of what did it for me on aviation, like watching them as a kid, seeing that type of stuff. And then my parents got divorced at a young age, but I remember riding out to airports with my dad, I mean, before I could talk. And I still have that same habit. I stop at every airport and go look at I like to see it. So you got the bug early, and then what was the process like? Were you in ROTC in high school or anything?
Yeah, so that kind of ties back into like me getting exposed to the Air Force and then taking an interest in it. I mean, my dad, he was in the Peruvian Air Force. I was born in Peru, moved up to San Antonio when I was, I think, 4 years old. So I had a little bit of like a military interest background, but not too much. It wasn't until I started going to like air shows and talking to all my buddies that were military and getting that interest in, that I'm like, okay, like how can I start looking at, learning more about our military, learning more about the Air Force? Like, is this a job that I'd want to have in the future? And there was JROTC in my high school I was going to. It was
Where'd you go to school? Was it
Brandeis High School over in San Antonio. And they had an Air Force ROTC there. So I joined. We got to wear the uniform. We got to march around and everything. But we got to learn a little bit more about like Air Force culture. Like, what does the Air Force do? What are the jobs out there for us?
Did the high school do a good job of showing you that and teaching you that?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we had some really good instructors. I think the last one that remained from when I was there just retired, Colonel Leparty, and they did a great job just teaching us professionalism. And like a majority of people in junior ROTC don't actually end up in the military, but I think junior ROTC does a good job at like teaching you professionalism, you know, how to be a good citizen, and teaching a lot of the core values that you'll either use in the military one day or just your professional career. So I think they did a really good job, and they had a lot of guest speakers, and we did something called Wreaths Across America too, where we went out to the Fort Sam cemetery out there and put wreaths on like all the tombstones that didn't have any. So it was really good for just personal development.
So if somebody was thinking about joining the military or learning at an early age, you'd highly suggest JROTC.
That's one of the paths they can take. We have junior ROTC. Civil Air Patrol is another good one too. A lot of high schools actually don't have junior ROTC at all. But you know, Lavernia, it's a small town. You know, obviously their high school doesn't have something like JROTC, but they do have a Civil Air Patrol squadron like at Randolph. For example.
They do?
So that's something that you can take advantage of if it's near you. And go do really cool stuff, because Civil Air Patrol even has like incentive flights too. They have like programs where you can go and learn how to fly as well. So I think that's a big part of aviation too, is getting that first discovery flight and like feeling what it's like to fly an airplane. It's really where a lot of people get the bug. And I think that's a difficult thing to do sometimes when like people don't know anything about aviation. They think it's kind of scary. And sometimes flight hours can be up to like $200, depends on what you're flying. So like, why would I go out to do that? It's scary. But if somebody offers that opportunity to you, you can kind of see if you like it or not. And that's actually what happened to me.
You took a discovery flight or the Civil Air Patrol?
So I didn't do it at the Civil Air Patrol. What's funny is I went to Civil Air Patrol once. I said, hey, this is pretty cool. And then right after that, I started high school. So I did junior ROTC. I still thought Air Force is great. I think I might go do this. So after that, I went to UTSA and started the ROTC program out there.
They have one there as well?
Yep. So ROTC compared to JROTC, main focus of ROTC is to commission you as an officer once you're done with the program. So if you do want to go the Air Force route, you do want to be an officer, something like a pilot that has to be an officer, you'll either do the Air Force Academy, you'll do Air Force ROTC, or you'll go to OTS, Officer Training School. That's if you already have like a degree and you already have a job, you're pretty established.
So you were in ROTC at UTSA.
That's right.
And how was the prep in that for what came later?
Really good. So that's kind of like where my personal story starts kind of getting a little crazy and derailing there, because at that time I started Air Force ROTC at UTSA. It was great. I loved it. It was tough. And at the same time, I was studying pre-med. And
holy crap, I was going to ask you what your degree was in.
I quickly learned that's one of the hardest things you can do is try to balance both at the same time.
You're trying to learn, like, medical lingo is like learning a new language.
Oh, yeah.
Nose in the book. Holy shit.
So quickly learned that was not for me. Of course, it took a little while of me kind of struggling through trying to make it work before I realized, like, all right.
Which registrar said, hey, Sebastian, I think you should do this?
I don't know, but she should be fired because that was a terrible idea for me.
Ma'am, you gave me way too much credit.
She really believed in me. No. But it's one of those things where you do have to try it out, and sometimes you realize it's not for you. And that was pre-med for me.
Well, that was so you took you tried something and I guess you failed or you pivoted.
I pivoted.
Yeah.
So I said, this is not for me. I may enjoy the idea of the goal in the long run, but
Yeah.
everything that I'm studying until this point, like I just don't dig it. It's not like something I like. It's not something I'm passionate about. So I kept searching. I went to I like government, that kind of stuff. I like the military. I knew those things. I swapped over to political science. It was a little bit better. Still kind of boring. At that point, I took a step back from ROTC because I didn't really know where I was going with my career.
How long has this been since you started college and you're figuring out all this stuff out?
I believe, so I left ROTC after my second year. So I already had a little bit of time in ROTC, and now I was switching over to political science. I was like, okay, this is a little better. I don't think I really want to do this. And I'm not sure what else to move on to. I had applied to UTSA and Liberty University when I graduated high school. And the only reason I went with UTSA, honestly, over Liberty was it was slightly cheaper because Liberty wanted me to live on campus. And by that time, I was 21. I said, you know what? If I wanted to go to Liberty, I can go to Liberty.
Where is Liberty?
Lynchburg, Virginia.
Oh, shit. That's a long way from San Antonio.
It's a long way, yeah. I stayed up one night. We were visiting Peru. I remember this. We were in Machu Picchu, right outside in the hotel room, and I couldn't sleep. It was like 4 a.m. And I'm like, you know what? All my buddies, they're at Liberty now. I wanted to go there to begin with. Like, I jumped on their website and I started scrolling through the degrees, and I'm just like, man, just find me something good. And I looked at the government degrees, and I saw criminal justice with a focus in strategic intelligence studies. And I'm like, this is cool. I started looking into it. And unlike UTSA, they had a lot of professors there that were very military oriented. Some were like former CIA, former Navy, FBI, that kind of stuff, like real world experience. And like the courses that I would take, there's like terrorism, counterterrorism, intel studies. I'm like, this is cool. This is the kind of stuff like I want to do. And I kind of took like a leap of faith there, and I told my parents, I was like, hey, I want to go to Liberty. And I think this is the move. And everybody's like, you're crazy. Like, why are you starting over and like moving halfway across the country? And I remember my mom was like, you have to do this. Like, go for it. Like, you know what you're doing. You know what you want. And I was like, cool, sweet. I took my buddy. He was like, I want to go to Liberty too. I'm like, let's go to Liberty. So we went out there, and I basically started all over. At that point, I was a junior at UTSA. And it was crazy at the time, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start all over, start from scratch, and I'm going to make it work. Did ROTC out there, Air Force again. And
was that good for meeting people and camaraderie? And
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, the Air Force, the military in general, it's a small world. So the longer you're in it, the more you're going to network and find people from all over the place. So I'm meeting people now that I used to hang out with back in the day in UTSA. I'm meeting people that were in ROTC back in high school, and I'm like, you were there too? And then we look at like the pictures, we're like, oh yeah, we were there.
It's funny how small-minded you are when you're a kid or in high school, like just how small your world is. It's just, you're not focused on the macro things. It's all micro. You're not worried about next week. You're worried maybe about what you're going to wear tomorrow.
Yeah, we're just chasing squirrels.
Yeah, chasing squirrels.
But yeah, no, absolutely.
So you went to Virginia on a whim, and what happened there?
I started figuring myself out. Started learning myself and what I really wanted, and at that point, I'm like, dude, I tried pre-med, and that sucked. And I tried political science, and that kind of sucked too. I'm doing criminal justice, but I like it. This is fun. Like, I don't have like this big goal in mind, but I'm doing something that I like and I'm passionate about. I like studying this. But I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be in the Air Force. I knew I wanted to go through Air Force ROTC and be an officer, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. In my first year in Air Force ROTC, again, they passed down some opportunities for us. they sometimes they'll send us over to like the Air Force Academy where they have a lot of resources, and they'll give us the jump program. They learn the students out there learn how to jump out of planes and like get their little jump wings too.
Oh, really?
It's the only
in
place,
college?
It's
Cool.
the only place in the country where your very first jump is just you by yourself, not like a tandem jump with somebody else.
Shit.
So they'll give you the whole course, and they'll be like, okay, it's time for your first jump, and it's all you. Like if you remember how we trained you, you'll live. And that's kind of the
Did you do that?
I didn't do that, but I did sign up for it. I signed up for that, the glider program, and a program to learn how to fly. Now, it was called ACE back in the day. Now it's called the Aim High Flight Academy, which I just got done volunteering at
Cool.
over in Kerrville. And it was basically, hey, we'll ship you out to flight school. We'll get you 15 hours of flight for the first time. Like, we want you to solo, and that's it. Like, no strings attached. I signed up for it. I signed up for all of them. I said, let's see what I get.
Yeah.
And I was lucky, and I got the flight academy. And I was kind of taken back at the time because I was the brand new guy. Like, I had joined like second semester of everybody's freshman year. So like the cadre there at my ROTC detachment, they just met me, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna send you. And they sent me out, and we went with a few other students to Tuskegee, Alabama.
Yeah.
Out in Moton Field. What was really cool about that is that it was the Air Force's first time training Air Force pilots out there since the original Tuskegee Airmen. So it was really cool. There's a big museum out there.
So they hadn't been using that field at all?
Just like GA flying. So like there's people flying through all the time, but like the Air Force hadn't come back since then to teach people how to fly.
Dang.
So it was a really cool opportunity. I got to solo at like 9 hours. And I mean, when you're learning how to fly in the general aviation side, you know, you'll go to flight training once, twice a week or something like that. This was like a summer camp. So every day we would wake up, we would do ground school, we'd get some food in us, and then go out to fly. And then we would study and then repeat the next day. So we would just live and breathe it. And all of these kids that went out there with us, like, we didn't know anything about flying. We knew absolutely nothing. And then 9 hours in, we're in that plane by ourselves, just flying around doing patterns.
Crud.
It's crazy. But man, if it wasn't for that program, like I don't know what I'd be doing now, because it wasn't until I was up there flying on my own going, I think I want to do this. This is cool. Like, it looks cool. It feels cool. And I proved to myself that I can do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's difficult for some people. You know, you want to be a dentist, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, X, Y, or Z. It's not until like you're already, you know, a doctor, you know, 12 years in, actually doing the surgery going, oh, look, I can do it.
Yeah.
Man, they just trusted us to get up there and take somebody else's plane and fly it around. And that's all it took to prove to yourself you can do this.
I don't remember how many hours it took for me to solo. I need to go look at the logbook, which I don't even know where that logbook is at. It's somewhere, but I want to see it. But y'all, you soloed in 9 hours? Dang. I remember I took off on the first takeoff. I took off. But I just wonder what it was. Seems like 15 hours would be a good number.
Yeah. And I mean, it's aviation, it's flying. You know, sometimes you take a break and you come back and you're like, how does this thing work? You know, it's the same thing in the big Air Force too, is like, you got to stay current on things. And if you're gone for a week and you haven't flown, you're like, all right, I got to spin up.
It's crazy that you do get behind the plane, even if it's seconds, if you hadn't been doing it every other day or every other, you know, and even where the switch is, sometimes you're like, why? I know this at the belt. Do y'all have to do the blind test? One of the guys was the A-10 pilot, one of the instructors, and he said they'd blindfold them. They had to go through and know every single. Wow.
I haven't had to do that, no, but I can see the value in that. Yeah. You know, you learn a lot about chair flying going through pilot training too, and part of that is just memorizing what everything is, especially with like emergency procedures. You don't want to be thinking about where the switch is when you're on fire, right?
No, not at all.
So that's a big reason why they do that. Yeah.
What? So you was that program? It was just geared towards getting you 15 hours or soloing
Yep.
But it wasn't saying, hey, you're going to get your private pilot certificate or.
No strings attached. Nope.
Yeah.
It was get out there, and we want to just inspire young people to learn how to fly. And if they use that to get their private pilot, they absolutely can.
How cool.
There was a person there that just halfway through, they're like, I don't really like this. And they just did not continue.
Yeah.
So, they continue this program throughout the years. Now it's the Aim High Flight Academy, and it's so much more popular now. I just got done volunteering at it.
That's a good thing.
It's just, kids that have barely any flight hours or none, preferably, going up to fly for the first time.
And the Air Force pays for that?
Yep.
Oh, man, that's badass.
They'll send you out there. They'll pay for the food, the lodging, that stuff, and you'll go out to a civilian flight school. So you'll learn from the CFIs there. They'll teach you how to fly. They got their own syllabus and curriculum. And the Air Force will send a couple of us mentors out there to just kind of hang out with the students. And then, they get their first flights, and then they come back with all these questions that they didn't have before.
Oh, yeah.
So we're there to guide them a little bit in terms of hey, do I actually want to go fly in the Air Force one day? Do I just want to go general aviation, do airlines, or maybe this just isn't for me? We're there to kind of be that guidance for them.
So the Aim High Flight Academy set the seed for you for being a pilot?
Yes, absolutely.
Which direction did you steer the plane after that?
So I did the little flight academy. Came back to ROTC. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do the pilot thing. I'm committing. I know I can do it. I'm set. So I continued on in ROTC. Went to field training. Came back.
Did you get your degree in political science?
I got my degree in criminal justice with my focus in strategic intel studies.
Oh, good.
So it was a really fun degree.
But you're unique in the Air Force world because it's always engineers and math guys. So you're pretty unique.
I mean, you'd be surprised actually. So in the pilot world in the Air Force, you don't need a specific degree to become a pilot there. So there's people out there with arts degrees, psychology degrees, absolutely anything and everything. And it's really the work you put in when you're going through either the academy or Air Force ROTC that earns you that pilot slot. So I've seen people that majored in aerospace engineering that didn't get their pilot slot.
When you say the work you put in, what are you referring to?
There's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, ROTC is going to look at your physical fitness scores, your GPAs. It's going to look at your commander's ranking too. What do you as the commander think of me? Do you see me volunteering all the time? Do you see me put in that work? Am I lazy? On top of that, you have to take the AFOQT, which is basically an Air Force SAT that you go and take, and they have a pilot section on there. So a huge benefit that Aim High Flight Academy that I did was, I got a brief lesson on my instruments, how to fly a plane, what does the bank angle mean? So when I'm taking this test, it's telling me what way is the plane turning, and it's got a little picture of this, and I'm it's going left, duh. Other people next to me that have never been in a plane before, they have no idea. They're circling the sea every time. So that was a huge benefit for me because I just got out of that flight school, jumping straight in the AFOQT to take my pilot exam on there, and I did a good job. On top of that, the Air Force does put you in a little chair. They call it the T-Bass, and it's almost like a little video game to test your hand-eye coordination, that kind of stuff. You go to field training, you get ranked there. There's so many numbers that get jumbled up and then put into the score, and then they will let you know, usually at the end of your junior year, hey, are you going to be a pilot or not? I remember the moment I got my call. I was at work, and of course, I hear all my buddies going, "Oh, I just got called." "Oh, they just called me. I got this job." So I'm sitting there, I'm already sweating. I'm at work, halfway through, and of course my phone starts ringing, and it's this lady that's taking forever. She's just I think I want that. And what's in this? And I'm my phone's ringing. I just cut her off. I'm I'll be right back. And I run outside, and I just squat in the bushes. And I'm hello? I'm all sweaty. And it's my commander, my colonel, and my major. And they're just giggling in the back. And they're hey, how's it going? I'm Yeah. And they tell me finally, they're like, you got pilot. I'm like, yes. I'm like freaking out. They're like, all right, bike. They're
Dang.
giggling. It was so funny. And I go back inside. I'm all pumped up, like ready to quit.
Here's my 2 weeks notice. Where were you working?
Kona Grill out in
Oh
La
yeah.
Cantera. Yeah.
Hey, y'all finish these burgers.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, that's when you find out what you're gonna do. You're not even done. You don't even have your degree or anything yet, but you know what your job is. Like,
Yeah.
you're secure.
That's pretty sweet.
You commission and then you go wherever it is you're going. But yeah.
That's sweet. So you found out that you were going to be a pilot your junior year?
Junior year, at end of my junior year. Mm-hmm.
That's sweet. And so you know what's going on. And then what's the road look like once you finish college?
Yep. So you finish college.
You're keeping your grades up.
Yep.
Are they watching you at this point? Like you better not slack off.
Yeah, no, you have to keep at least the minimum requirements at that point.
What is the minimum requirement?
I forget. I think it's like
A B plus?
2.5.
Yeah, we
like
could
just
do
to
that.
stay in. Yeah,
Yeah.
but to be competitive for your job, of course, you want it to be as high as possible.
I've seen that happen there. I've had a few people across from you, lawyers, doctors, and now pilots that have stressed the importance of keeping your grades up in college. Like, I mean, and it's not going to bite you getting through the program. It's going to bite you at the end of the program if you don't keep your grades up.
Yeah, and a lot of things, especially like with the military, is like these things are based on merit too.
Yeah.
So like, awesome, you get a pilot slot, cool, but like, where are you going to pilot training? You know, we have different training bases. You know, the one I wanted was over in Del Rio because it's right next to home. It's right next to San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I get to see my family. Like if I wanted to drive home every weekend, which I almost did.
Yeah.
Like I can do that. So, you know, based on merit, they gave me my first choice. On top of that, I did a little bit of recruiting too. I applied to be a gold bar recruiter, and at that time there was only 40 in the U.S.
What's
total.
a gold bar recruiter?
So enlisted, if you go the enlisted route, we have recruiters all over the U.S. Those are mainly the ones that you see like in the little, you know, Air Force recruiter stations. We have officer recruiters as well. I think there's like only a couple that cover like a massive area of like multiple states. ROTC only has about 40 to 50 people. So if you have questions about ROTC and you go to enlisted recruiters, sometimes they're like, hey, like I can tell you a little bit. Sometimes they're like, I have no idea. And then you have to call somebody and you kind of have to play phone tag to figure out like what are the rules. You have to do your own research. Gold bar recruiters are people that just graduated from Air Force ROTC, and we recruit for ROTC. But we don't do any paperwork. We don't have quotas or anything. We're there kind of like Air Force influencers to talk about our experience. And inspire other people to maybe chase that dream if that's for them.
What did recruiting teach you about, prospecting and?
I mean, honestly, like I said before, we didn't have like quotas or anything, so we weren't like aggressive recruiters. We were just there to like inspire. But like it just really taught me that there are some really interesting and promising, just cool people from all over the place, and it didn't matter where they're from. It's south side, north side of town.
Yeah.
I went over to within my area of recruiting was Puerto Rico. We had the Virgin Islands, and we had most of Florida.
Dang.
I was stationed in Patrick Space Force Base, and what I didn't know was the Virgin Islands has like one recruiter, one Air Force recruiter total. And I'd go out there, and like some schools are just tiny, and they have like 20, 30 people, but you still got some really smart kids in there, and some of them are just like geniuses, and like I realized like it doesn't matter where you came from, it's really just what you do with your life that gets you to where you want to be. And
so those were high school kids or college?
High school kids. So we really wanted to reach out to the juniors and the seniors because we wanted to tell them about opportunities like the high school scholarships that we give them. It's like your full tuition and fees and everything. I actually didn't know about that when I was going through high school. So there's
Oh,
all my other buddies in Air Force ROTC, like they're like, oh yeah, I got the scholarship, you got the scholarship. I'm like, I didn't get the
oh
scholarship. Nobody
shit.
told me. So that was our main goal, is like, hey, you kids are smart. Like you guys got like a promising future. Like, you know, these are the resources that are out there for you.
Yeah.
That I wish I knew about.
Yeah, that would have helped a lot.
But yeah.
So after you recruited for a while, how long what was the time frame that you recruited for?
It was a year. It was an optional program. It was really competitive. I'm really lucky I got the chance, because it got me the opportunity to go live in Florida for a year. I had my Disney season pass and everything out there. But
Did the Air Force pay for that?
No, I had to pay for that one. but no, so it got me the chance to meet a ton of people and just get a little bit of networking and experience under my belt. It's just a first year Air Force officer before I went to go live the pilot lifestyle and just make that my whole existence, basically.
Did they did they have a date that you were supposed to start your pilot training?
Yes.
So you're just looking forward to that by living in Florida, doing your thing.
Yeah.
That's nice to have a carrot to look forward to.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I knew my start date, I knew where I was going, and it was a pretty quick turnaround.
Well, run us into the actual aviation. So you know your start date. Give us your experience with the pilot training, where you started, what was the first day like? Just run us through a brief synopsis of that so people can see what they would have to look forward to.
Oh, yeah. So on one side of the coin, we have general aviation. Up until that point, that's like all the experience I had was just getting up, flying VFR, doing patterns, going from point A to point B. I had like another scholarship in college that I used to get a little bit more flight hours, but now it was big Air Force time. So I went over to Laughlin Air Force Base
in Del Rio.
So
you know you got good Mexican food.
Oh yeah, I went straight to Julio's as soon as I got there. So yeah, no, it was a good time over there so far. And
is that called IPT?
So there's
initial pilot training.
Yeah, so there's big changes in the Air Force right now going with that. Now, like when I started, it was called IFT in Pueblo, Colorado. So I got to Laughlin, and anybody that didn't have their PPL, which I didn't at the time.
Private pilot license.
Exactly, yeah. I didn't at the time. I just focused on flight hours because I knew eventually the Air Force would give me all the certifications. Anybody that doesn't have their private pilot license would go to IFT in Pueblo, Colorado. And we flew DA-20s out there. And man, they're just tiny and light. And, you got this really big instructor right next to you, and you're just like,
is it a civilian instructor?
Most of them are prior military. Some of them are civilian, strictly, and they will teach you the Air Force way of flying things, which is very different. It's really beneficial going out there because you get like a diet version of what actually happens at UPT in pilot training. But it was great. We got to fly around. We did stuff like what would become low levels in UPT. We learned like overhead patterns, like going through initial and then coming down for a landing instead of just jumping on a regular pattern. And
bumpy and turbulent out there every time you fly.
Oh yeah.
I hate going over Colorado. It's always a mess.
And I think like the biggest thing for me out there that we learned was how to study, because that was a big shock for me, is like, you know, them telling us like, hey, you're gonna have a test 2 days from now. Here's a slideshow, blah 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 blah, click, blah 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 blah, click, blah 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 blah, click, and we're just like writing as fast as we can. Like there's so much, and we're memorizing like all these systems, and you know, learning everything about this plane, and we're taking the test in 2 days, and as soon as that's done, you're flying. As soon as that's done, it's like nonstop. So
yeah,
man, I forgot to eat sometimes, and like I forgot about the gym because it was like wake up at like 4 a.m, brief, fly, get back, eat food, you know, and then get back to studying. Sometimes we flew twice a day. And it was the first time that like flying, like what we're doing today is on me. A lot of times when you learn to fly in like general aviation, you're just starting out, you just show up. And your instructor's like, all right, we're going to do this today. You know, maybe they'll give you like a weight and balance sheet and they're like, hey, fill this out real quick. Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. So I showed up my first day. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm here. And they're like, what are we doing? Like, you are briefing me. You are telling me what we're doing today. You are telling me what we're focusing on today. Like, you tell me the parameters of these steep turns. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And that's just a diversion of what we got at UPT. So after that, I made it. I got out of IFT. I'm like, that was hard for me. That's a lot.
How long was that course?
It depends. For me, it was about a month. It's not super long.
And do you have, what do they call the Air Force's pilot license?
We don't. We honestly, so going through on the Air Force side, like we will teach you everything that you need to know, and then you go back and get those certifications on the civilian side.
So after Colorado, did you know how to fly on instruments?
We didn't know how to fly instruments too much on the DA-20, but starting out on the T6, it comes all at once. On the civilian side, I'm sure you know, like, hey, you're learning how to fly VFR.
Yeah.
You're getting better. You do your cross countries, you get your PPL, and then, okay, now let's start looking at instruments.
Yeah.
UPT is just all in. Your week one is like, this is how you start the plane. Also, here's like an instrument approach plate. And you're like, what is going on? So it is all at once. It is, I feel like on the Air Force side of things, UPT is like somebody scouting you out in high school. And you're like, hey, you're really good at, football. You're in the NFL now.
I mean, it's just to fly visual flight rules and learn airport signage, airspace, this, that. To learn all of that is drinking from a fire hose. Yep. And even I had 600 hours before I got my instrument rating, which is a mistake. You need to just do it. But I never thought I was going to do anything with commercial aviation. And but anyway, if anybody goes and gets their private pilot license, they need to do their instrument right away because the weather can be fine, a little overcast layer, and it's clear blue skies right above it. You're really not even on instruments for long. So don't wait 600 hours. But when they hand you an instrument approach plate and you start talking about instrument flying after you've been flying for years, again, it's like learning Spanish. You're like, what is this? Yeah. And so they give it to you all at once. The other thing that I didn't ever realize until I went and did the F-16 sim at Kelly Air Force is fighter pilots, they almost fly the airplane last. They're looking for, countermeasures. They're looking for enemies. I mean, the last thing they're doing is flying the airplane. And so I guess obviously they really know how to prep you. So what was the first week is instrument procedures and
first week is like everything, honestly. But I think they do a really good job because first week, technically, like you're going through a lot of like your aerofis stuff, like you're going in the altitude chamber, you're seeing like how blue you can turn before you start getting your symptoms out there from hypoxia, and you're getting fitted for your G suit, your mask, and all that stuff, and your helmet, all that stuff, and you're getting all that admin stuff out the way. But we usually start you off at the sim stage, and you do a bunch of sims. You'll learn like all of the local stuff, how to get from here to the MOA. You're learning how to do your ground ops. We'll have different simulators for different stuff. So like the cockpit simulators that we have are completely functional. Like you don't have anything out here, but you can sit down, you got your stick, it's got a stick shaker that works in it and everything, and you can actually fly like a whole sortie like instrument based off that cockpit. There's another one that's just like a screen, and there's one that's like a little bit more of like a 180. So like you can kind of like work your way up that way, but you'll get in sims with instructors, a lot of them civilians, and then like one moment you're learning how to do your ground ops and then get out to our MOAs. And then
When you say ground ops, are they teaching you about airport signage, land and hold short?
yeah, and that's kind of stuff that like you should already know.
Did y'all pick that up in Colorado?
Yes. So we did a lot of that stuff there. And I mean, I think one of the toughest things that I came to realize in UPT is like some things like you just got to show up knowing. And like hey, we know that this week we're going to go learn this and next week we're going to learn that. Like, and everything in between, like you're a grown up, like go learn it on your own. And a lot of flying out there is self-taught.
How much time were y'all in the sim before you got in an actual T6?
It's hard to say. I know for a fact it was probably like maybe 30 sims or more. Because by the time you're touching the plane for the first time, it's not like a discovery flight. Like when you are going out there and flying the T6 for the first time, you know what you're doing. You're still telling your instructor like, "Hey, how's it going? Good morning." You give him your dollar because it's a dollar ride is what we call them.
Oh,
so
really?
A lot of times we draw on the dollar and give it to him, and then you go, "All right, instructor, this is what we're doing today, and this is how we're gonna do it, and we're gonna go out and do this. I'm gonna say this, and then you're gonna say nothing because I should know everything, and then you go fly that plane the best you can. Now, of course, it's your first flight, so you're gonna get a lot of feedback, and they'll help you out. They don't expect you to be perfect at it.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of what's expected is like go home, do your homework, learn absolutely everything you can, and then we'll guide you. We're not going to spoon feed you.
So you're learning how to actually fly the plane, instrument procedures, airspace, all of that stuff in the first few flights. And then when do you start working on dog fighting, or how do they decide, hey, Sebastian, we're going to go work on, light aerobatics, or what does that syllabus look like?
Aerobatics, day one, right off the bat.
Hell yeah.
It's awesome. That's one thing I do miss about the T6. Like quick background on my timeline is I went to Pueblo, Colorado, did the T6 at Laughlin, did the T1 sim program, and then went on to heavies. If you finish the T6 and you want to go fighters and you do good job T6s, you can go fighters and you go fly the T38, and then you go the fighter route. I went heavies, but yeah, no, day one you're like, hey, this is what we're doing, and we're gonna go out and do some aerobatics and stuff, and that's one thing I really miss about it. Even though I went heavies all the way,
Yeah. But it
like,
teaches you what an airplane is capable of. And instead of just straight and level flights and, gentle turns left and right, you learn that they can fly straight up.
And
they can fly straight down. And so even for civilians that haven't done one acro course, it's important. I mean, I feel like it's important to go do light aerobatics just so you can see that a 60-degree bank isn't the end of the world, a 90-degree bank. You don't want to be there in a King Air or a Baron, but if you were, there's ways out of it. Nice ways out of it, gentle ways out of it. But where was I going with this? The T1 is the Beechcraft 400. Is that right?
it's that little like private jet that we used to fly.
Did you fly that a bunch?
So when I went in, they transitioned from actually flying the T1 to making it a sim only program.
What?
Crazy.
I like the real thing.
The real thing was much cooler.
The sim doesn't smell like jet fuel.
We got a spray for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they transitioned over to that, and so we did a sim only program. The shorties were about 3 hours long, about twice as long as the T6s, much longer than the T38s because those run out of gas very quickly.
Yeah. Did you fly? Have you been in a T38?
I've never flown one. My roommate, he flies them. They seem pretty cool. It's such a big culture difference when you split off the T6 and you go heavies, and the T6 they will train you to fly, think on your own, in case you do go that fighter route like my roommate did.
I always see the T6s going in the Randolph MOA, and they'll be at who knows what altitude, but they'll lose 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. They're dog fighting them. Because if it's a nice clear day, I won't file to go down to Port Aransas.
Yeah.
And I pay attention to y'all and I zoom through the MOAs, but I try to give y'all lots of room.
They're having a fun
They're
time out
going
there.
everywhere. I don't know. How do they pay attention to the traffic out there if they're doing that?
I mean, just really good controllers, honestly.
Do they have ADS-B in the T6?
Yeah.
So the guy in the back is paying attention?
Yeah. So I mean, so out there at Randolph, that's where they have PIT, the pilot instructor training. So that's a lot of what you're seeing out there. We have something the Laughlin mowers are very similar. So we have controllers out there that are just keeping track of that whole mess.
I try to avoid them for the most part if they're busy, but sometimes it's just, it's in a direct path to where I'm going. But I always talk to the controllers and try to stay pretty close to out of them.
Yeah.
So what happened after T1 training was all in the sim? It's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. What was the difference between the transport for you and the T6 training?
Yeah, so going through T6 training honestly opened my eyes a little bit. I feel like most people that go into the T6, like 90% of them sometimes just want to go fighters. Like everybody's seen Top Gun. Everybody wants to go fly the jets and blow stuff up.
Yeah.
I went into it going, I want to fly the jets and blow stuff up. But then you go through the T6 program. You start learning a little bit more about the cultures. You start talking to people that did fighters. Start talking to people that went heavies. You start learning about the lifestyles that come with those things as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what happened to me is I got a lot of the dog fighting and G's out of the way. I got it out of my system.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is really cool, but like, what do I want out of life?
The other thing about the fighter, the single seat fighter, is you might be on the other side of the planet all by yourself at night in the clouds.
Yep.
You can't see outside and it's just you.
You got an hour of fuel.
And they're launching rockets at you. Or, I'd rather have a buddy by my side or behind me.
This is the best way I could put it. I could go on about like my how I decided to go heavies going through T6s, but like the best way to put it for me is like, okay, so like one route is like you drive a Lamborghini daily, and every day you drive to the grocery store, but you have to drive at 200 miles an hour and drift every corner. That's really cool. You know, you do it once, do it twice, do it for a week, you're still the coolest guy on the block.
Yeah.
After a few years, I don't know if I want to do that. I kind of prefer driving a limo with my buddies in the back. I got a bathroom, I got a microwave, and I get to drive as slow as I want to another city.
Just getting up to walk around and stretch your legs. Can you imagine sitting in a single seat for 10 hours?
Some of those are small. Like I've been in an F-16 seat, and it's this little cube. It's like
it looks good in the movies.
Yeah. I mean, fighters have an amazing job.
Yeah.
They're some of the coolest people out there. It's a different lifestyle though. And it's honestly going through T6s, you kind of find yourself and you realize like, hey, you know, neither path is better than the other at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like fighters are living their life. We're living our life on the transport side. We all love it. But at the end of the day, what kind of lifestyle do you want is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And everybody has an idea what they want to do going into to UPT. And when it's the time to decide, usually it's clear. And they'll go, hey, you know, actually, I do want to go transport. I want to fly longer and I want to hang out with my buddies. And other guys are like, hey, I want to fly fast.
Yeah.
I want to be like locked on 100% of the time.
Man, they are too.
Yeah, it's a different kind of person. Absolutely. But it wasn't the life for me. I wanted to go big. I want to go heavy, and I got.
But you got it.
The biggest, heaviest thing I could find, actually.
You did. And could you imagine getting stuck in a C-130 and cruising at 275 knots all halfway around the world?
Oh yeah, we can fit a C-130 without the wings.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But yeah, no, I think the big thing that you get from the transition from T6s to the T1 is crew resource management. You're going from sitting in the front, and your instructor in the back, who's only like your goal and his goal is for him not to say anything.
Yeah.
You fly, you make all the radio calls, you're tuning this in, you're clicking the GPS, you're in the middle of a barrel roll.
Yeah.
And you now move on to this T1 where you got your buddy right next to you, and now you got to talk. You know, you talk, I fly. I'm not stepping on you. You're not stepping on me. And I think the first 2 weeks of T1 training is just slapping each other on the wrist because we're trying to do everything ourselves. And our goal now is to be like a hive mind.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head on that, because when I did my type rating, it was like, you're a crew now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, and really, I feel like the right seat guy has the busier job. It's just every time I sat on the right seat, co-pilot of running everything and just kind of confirming with the captain, you're like, there's a lot to do. I always felt it was a lot busier on the right side, programming everything, setting up everything, and then just confirming it with the boss on the left. But that was a big thing for me, was crew resource management, because I had never done it or flown as a crew. So that's a good point.
Yeah, a lot of what opens our eyes really is when we're going through that T1 program is that they show us like all the plane crashes due to bad crew resource management. You know, 2 people trying to fly the plane at the same time. One person's trying to do one thing, the other person's trying to do another thing, and that can lead to disaster. So that's one of the big things that you learn there, is how to fly as a crew. And at the end of the program, man, you guys are just a team. You guys are good at what you do. And that's important, because whether it's airlines or the Air Force, like, there's just times where you're going to jump in the seat and you just met the guy next to you. So you have to trust that they have the same training as you and that you guys are going to be on the same page. So if anything does happen, like, you guys are thinking like bees and are making it happen.
Does the C5 have 3 people up front on it, or just 2?
We have the 2 pilots up front. We have our engineer. We have jump seats.
What's the engineer doing?
The engineer, he's looking at all of our systems. I mean, we got 4 engines, and he's just making sure that everything's running the way it's supposed to be. I mean, when we were flying the T1 and we had emergency procedures blocked, like, you see something go in the red. I'm flying the plane. Co-pilot is like, all right, we're doing math here. We're pulling up the checklist. The engineer allows the pilots to just focus on the flying while he tries to solve the problem. And he can tell us, like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, and that way we have an extra brain in there.
That'll add another dimension to your crew resource management that you'll learn all about. That's what I love about this place.
The planes flying over. It feels like home.
I know. The only time it's a problem is when there's a flight school over here, a great little helicopters flight school, but they'll sit there just running up on the ramp, and you're like, all right, kind of loud. Because we're at an airplane hangar, and the walls are metal. So not that thick. So you're in the middle right now of, you're about to head to flight training for the C5, which is going to be good. I know the 747 type took my buddy, I think, 2 months.
2 months.
Okay. So how long is the training on the C5?
Usually it's about 4 months. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay in the flight line because we got to compete with, like, you know, other people getting like currencies or like, you know, instructors or whatever it is out there. But it's about 4 to 5 months.
You need to shoot me a text when you're doing touch and goes at Kelly, because I'll go and video it.
For sure.
I would love to. When I see my mom used to live out near Castroville, and I'd see those C5s coming in, and I'd just sit on the side of the runway waiting for them, or on the highway waiting for them. And then my biggest mistake was rolling all the windows down. It's loud as anything. Be interesting to learn how much thrust those have. But man, what a beautiful bird. So what are your plans? You're going to go, how much longer do you have committed to the Air Force?
So my 10-year commitment's already started. I have about 9 years, about 9 years left. So I have plenty of time to go out and see the world, explore a little bit, and then decide, hey, at the end of those 10 years, do I want to take a step back and start multitasking with airlines and reserves, or do I want to stay in and do that full 20? Like, that pension's worth it. honestly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have buddies that that are in the airlines, and they're like, man, have you really been in the airlines if you haven't been furloughed like at least once or twice?
Yeah.
It's worth it, because if anything does happen, like we get another COVID or something, you're in the airlines, like you might find yourself out of a job.
Yeah.
So it's good to put in that work and put in that time and just have those benefits.
The aviation industry has its ups and downs. There's no doubt about that. And they're not little, they're big ups and downs. I mean, 2 years ago, anybody with a pilot license could have got a job at the airlines. And now you see it on all the face trash posts of all these guys with X amount of hours, and nobody's hiring and nobody's calling. And it's had those peaks and valleys for years and years, but that's the way it goes. That'll be interesting to see where you go. We'll be watching. What do you have to say to anybody? I always tell people, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? But how old are you now?
28. I just turned
Shit, you're getting old.
Yeah.
What would you tell that young guy at 20 years old, knowing what you know now? What advice would you give him?
Yeah, I think, main takeaway. Like I came from Lima, Peru. I was born there. I showed up when I was 4. My mom had like $2,000 in her pocket. Had to learn English. Had to get my my citizenship eventually out here. Like you can do it. Just if you see something and you feel like you want it, like go after it. Mm-hmm. Some people are gonna call you crazy. Like I was trying to go halfway across the country to go to college for something I felt deep down was right. Like if you feel like it's right and you see something that you want to do, go for it. And it doesn't matter your background. Like we were talking about taking a step back and seeing like what we've been through and where we've come from. Like, yeah, a lot of people say don't look back, but sometimes it's good to look back and go like, hey, like this is where I came from. I've come a long way.
Well, where you were and where you are now is a long, long way away. Basically a young immigrant from Peru to a Air Force pilot is a big jump, and it takes time. And I think a lot of people that sit where you're sitting now, I've had successful people, and whether you realize it or not, you're extremely successful. It's taken the same amount of dedication, time, study. I mean, there's been times you probably thought, how the hell am I going to get through this next test? And but what you did every single time was show up on time, put in the work, and to get where you're at. And whether you realize it or not, I know you do, but in the next few months, you're going to be piloting the second largest airplane in the world, which is just crazy.
It's still crazy to me. Yeah.
I love saying the simplest things like that. And for me, it was, sitting in the left seat of a Cessna Citation at, 37,000 feet at night, looking out the window going, holy shit. Like, this is my plane. I'm in charge, and that's going to be you before too long. And so it's pretty neat to see that and watch that. And, this is a not solely focused business podcast. It's people's story, and you're doing the same thing that these guys have done. And it's honorable and admirable to watch it. And like I told you earlier, if this helps one person on their journey, or if they ever need something, they can text you, it's just, you're changing lives with what you're doing. And I remember almost shaking talking to pilots in flight suits. So part of this is I've always been interested in people's journeys, and I'd always ask questions. How'd you do this? How'd you do that? How'd you do that? And now you've shared with us with how you did that. So I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
And I hope people, I hope they appreciate it. You can't, the stuff that we do on the podcast, you can't Google. Like if you Googled how to become an Air Force aviator, it's like, well, is that true or not?
Right.
And now they know. So, well, Mr. Sebastian, you have anything else that you want to add to this?
Man, if it's this is something you'll probably agree with. If it's worth doing, it's probably hard.
Fuck, it's always hard.
Don't forget that. I mean, pilot training for me was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but I knew it was the right thing to do. I mean, there's lots of lots of nights where I was just like in tears, like how am I gonna get this done? But if it's worth doing, it's probably hard, and it's something you just gotta toughen up and push through. And if you know it's right and you know it's in your future, like, man, it's gonna suck sometimes. But
and it's hard because it's worth it. It's hard because it's worth it. If you look at you in the next 20 years and you do have a pension from the Air Force and you do have, I mean, somebody's going to pick you up to fly a big airplane. You're talking about $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year in income. That's a lot of money.
yeah. Funny enough, I didn't even know how much pilots got paid before I started before I made this move. Don't do it for the money.
Yeah.
Do it because it's your passion. Back then when I was trying to do pre-med, I'm going to be honest, I was doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Not because of the passion.
I always say the men go to medical school and law school, number one, for the money, and two, for the clients, and that women go to medical school and lawyer, number one, for the client or patient, and then number 2 or 3 for the money. And I think that's just a male female mentality, but maybe somebody will yell at me about that, which I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, there must be passion. There must be passion.
Well, I gotta go get to work near Houston and then celebrate 4th of July tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm not taking a day off. I'll take a half a day off. And but I appreciate you coming in and telling your story. I think it was a great one, and I had a good time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was great to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, man. Have a good day.
All right. You too.